Hey, what is up everyone? Nikkei Canadajin here, and today we are going to be looking at whether or not Japanese people actually like foreigners. Alright, so today we are going to be looking at the 3 main factors that will determine whether or not a Japanese person will like a foreigner. And you definitely will want to stay until the end of this video because number 3 is gonna shock you. But before we get started, if you're interested in this topic, then please smash that like button for the sushi gods of YouTube. And of course, these are just my personal observations and experiences that I've discussed and talked about with my friends. So this has absolutely no scientific base whatsoever. Alright, so the first factor that's going to determine whether or not a Japanese person is going to like you is your value system. Now, your values will have to be in line with those of the majority of the Japanese population. For example, if you believe that cannabis is no big deal and you regularly smoke it, but your Japanese friend believes that it is wrong, it is illegal, and it is harmful, then most likely they'll think of you in a negative way, or maybe even as a criminal, even if you don't see yourself as one, and if you don't see smoking marijuana as being serious. So having the same values will make a huge difference in whether or not Japanese people will like you. Okay, so factor number 2 is your communication style. Now, in general, the Japanese communication style is very indirect. For example, if your Japanese friends thinks that your choice of clothes, of fashion is absolutely horrendous, like you absolutely look horrible, they won't directly say it to you. What they may say instead is something along the lines of, hey, you know what? Your fashion sense is very unique. And while this could actually be seen as a compliment, it is most likely kind of a hint that, hey, you know what? Maybe you're better off kind of changing your clothes this time. So especially when it comes to communication style, you have to read between the lines in order to understand the message that they actually want to tell you. And this method kind of goes both ways as well. So if you think that your Japanese friend isn't really rocking that outfit, you probably shouldn't say, hey, you know what? That outfit completely looks horrible on you. Go change it right now. Being direct like that and being blunt like that, you may see it as like a sign of, hey, you know what, I just want to convey what I think, what I feel, but the other person may interpret it as a personal attack on them. So instead, what I recommend is going for the indirect method if you're talking and want to communicate effectively with a Japanese person. Okay, and factor number 3. And I told you at the beginning of this video that this is going to shock you. And that is that Japanese people don't matter. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I mean, you shouldn't generalize the entire Japanese population. You shouldn't generalize the entire Japanese population or people, because each person is an individual with their own values and own personality. So instead of asking the question, do Japanese people like foreigners, you really should be asking instead whether or not that specific person, that individual, will like me. And what can I further do to create a good atmosphere and a good relationship with that individual? And just like how you wouldn't like to be grouped together by your nationality, you really shouldn't be doing it for other groups. And really, this is why the 2 other points I listed don't just apply to Japanese people, but it applies to anyone and everyone. So in order to be liked, you need to have a shared value system and to be able to communicate in a way that the other person will positively respond to. So let me know in the comment section down below what your biggest takeaway from this video is. And until next time everyone, stay waku waku.